3-year-old girl rescued a German shepherd from a burning house. What happened next left millions in tears. If you think love is just a word, wait till you hear what this little girl did when she found him lying there, helpless, hopeless, and nearly gone. Her next move turned a tragedy into a miracle that people still talk about today. This story will move you. Like, share, and let us know where you're listening from. The night was thick with smoke, curling and twisting like sinister shadows through the dark sky. Flames licked hungrily at the edges of the old wooden house, sending bursts of orange light flickering against the thick black smoke. Neighbors had gathered outside, faces etched with panic and helplessness. The fire roared, devouring everything in its path with a relentless fury. Sirens wailed in the distance, but for those trapped inside, time was running out fast. Amidst this chaos, there was an unexpected flicker of hope, a tiny figure standing at the edge of the burning inferno. She was barely 3 years old, no taller than a chair, her small frame wrapped in a bright yellow jacket. Her wide eyes, filled with both fear and fierce determination, scanned the smoky room through a window that was cracking under the heat. Most adults would have frozen, overwhelmed by the terror of the moment, but not this little girl. Something deep inside her stirred, a courage far beyond her years. Her name was Lily. While most children her age played safely indoors, Lily's world was about to change forever. Through the haze and flickering flames, she saw him, her German shepherd, Max, trapped inside. The dog's large frame was pressed against the far wall, eyes wide with panic, his heavy breathing the only sound she could hear over the crackling fire. Max was more than a pet. He was family, a loyal protector who had been by her side since she was a baby. Without a moment's hesitation, Lily stepped forward. The crowd gasped, urging her to stay back, but she ignored their cries. The fire's heat was intense, the smoke thick and choking, yet she moved with purpose, her tiny hands pounding against the door that separated her from Max. No fear could hold her back, not when someone she loved was in danger. Suddenly, the door gave way just enough for her to squeeze through. Eyes tearing from the smoke, she found Max trembling and disoriented. Reaching out, Lily wrapped her small arms around him, her embrace a shield against the roaring blaze. Max's tail wagged weakly, sensing the comfort his little rescuer provided. They moved carefully back toward the doorway, each step a battle against the suffocating smoke and blistering heat. Outside, the crowd held its breath as the pair emerged from the fire, coughing and covered in soot, but alive. Lily's bravery had won the day. She had defied the impossible, rescuing Max against all odds. But as the flames crackled behind them and emergency crews rushed to contain the blaze, the story was far from over. What happened next, what Lily did after the rescue, was something no one could have predicted. It was a moment so full of heart, so deeply moving, that it left millions of viewers in tears. Her courage was just the beginning of a journey that would change the lives of everyone involved. The bond between Lily and Max would grow into something extraordinary, a tale of love, hope, and unbreakable spirit. Stay with us, because what happens next will touch your soul and remind you of the true power of innocence and bravery in the face of overwhelming odds. Before the night of smoke and flames, before the chaos that would forever change their lives, there was a quieter, warmer story unfolding in a modest house nestled on a peaceful street. This was the home of Lily and her family, a place filled with laughter, love, and the gentle rhythm of everyday life. Lily's world was small but full. At just 3 years old, she was curious and lively, with golden curls that bounced as she ran through the rooms and a giggle that could brighten even the gloomiest days. But the brightest part of her life was Max, the family's German shepherd. To Lily, Max was more than just a dog. He was her steadfast companion, her guardian, and her best friend. From the moment Max had entered their lives, The two had been inseparable. Their days were filled with shared adventures, from early morning walks in the park to lazy afternoons curled up together in the living room. Max, with his keen eyes and gentle demeanor, had an instinctive understanding of Lily's moods. When she was happy, he wagged his tail vigorously. When she was upset, he was there, nuzzling her cheek, offering comfort without words. Max's personality was a blend of strength and tenderness. He was fiercely loyal, always alert and protective of the little girl who had become the center of his universe. Neighbors often commented on how he watched over Lily as if she were his own pup, and how he would patiently endure her endless games and curious pokes. It was clear to everyone who met them that Max wasn't just a pet, he was a member of the family. The bond between Lily and Max was forged in countless small moments. The way Max allowed her to climb onto his back for a ride, the careful way Lily would feed him little treats from her tiny hands, and the quiet evenings when they would sit side by side, Max's head resting on her lap as she drifted off to sleep. This companionship brought a sense of security and joy that radiated through the household. Their home, a cozy wooden house with a white picket fence, stood as a sanctuary for this unique friendship. The walls were filled with memories, pictures of birthdays, family vacations, and holidays shared with laughter and warmth. Lily's parents, Sarah and David, were devoted to their daughter and their dog. They saw the special connection between them and encouraged it wholeheartedly. For Sarah, watching Lily grow up with Max was a blessing. She often remarked that Max seemed to have a sixth sense about what Lily needed, especially on days when the world seemed a little too big for her. Even the neighbors noticed the closeness. Mrs. Thompson from next door would smile warmly when she saw Lily and Max playing in the yard, calling out, "You two are quite the pair." It wasn't just affection, it was admiration for a bond so pure and unspoken. However, life had its challenges beneath this idyllic surface. The house, though filled with love, was old and prone to creaks and drafts. Recently, there had been issues with the electrical wiring, small flickers of light, odd smells, and occasional sparks that David had promised to fix. But with work and family responsibilities, repairs had been delayed, and no one anticipated the danger lurking in the walls. On the evening before the fire, the family had settled in for a quiet night. Lily had played with Max in the living room, her laughter echoing as she threw a ball for him to fetch. Sarah was in the kitchen preparing dinner, while David read a book in his favorite armchair. Outside, the stars twinkled peacefully, unaware of the storm that was about to shatter the calm. No one could have predicted how quickly the situation would spiral out of control. A faulty wire sparked a fire that spread with terrifying speed. The smoke curled into the air, silent but deadly, filling the house with a creeping danger. When the first signs were noticed, it was already too late for many to react calmly. The neighbors, hearing the alarms and seeing the flickering orange glow, rushed to help. Yet, in the midst of the confusion, it was Lily's determination and Max's presence that would become the heart of this story. Theirs was a connection that no fire could sever, a bond that would lead to an act of courage no one expected from a child so small. Lily's parents often spoke about their little girl's bravery, but they also shared their amazement at the gentle strength Max had always shown. He wasn't just a protector in the physical sense, he was a calming force, a friend who knew no fear when it came to Lily's safety. This story isn't just about a fire, it's about a family, a bond between child and dog, and the ordinary moments that build into extraordinary courage. It's about love that creates heroes, no matter how young or small. The night that changed everything began quietly, almost innocently. But beneath the calm exterior of the old house, a deadly threat was already lurking. It all started with a small electrical fault, a frayed wire tucked away behind a forgotten cabinet in the living room. What seemed like a minor spark quickly grew into something far more dangerous, igniting a smoldering fire that would soon engulf the home. The first sign was subtle, a faint smell of smoke wafting through the air. Sarah, finishing up in the kitchen, noticed it almost immediately. At first, she thought it might be the toaster left on by mistake or perhaps something burning in the oven. But as the seconds passed, the smoke thickened, curling up from the living room carpet in dark tendrils. Her heart pounded as she called out, "David, something's wrong." David jumped up, his eyes scanning the room. The flames were already licking the edge of the curtains, the fire growing faster than either could have imagined. The crackling sound of burning wood and the sharp, acrid sting of smoke filled the house in moments. Panic set in. "Get Lily! Get the dog!" David shouted, his voice trembling but commanding. Sarah darted toward the staircase, but the smoke was thick and choking. The fire spread with terrifying speed, swallowing furniture and blocking escape routes. The old house, with its wooden beams and narrow hallways, turned into a trap. Lily, only 3, was playing in her bedroom down the hall, with Max lying at her feet, his watchful eyes following her every move. The dog had always been her silent protector, calm and alert. But now, even Max's instincts were tested as the air grew heavy and the heat intensified. As the flames crept closer to her room, Lily was startled by the smoke seeping beneath the door. Max barked softly, nudging her gently. But when the smoke thickened, he moved to the window, seeking a way out. That's when the worst happened. The window jammed, and Max found himself trapped. Back downstairs, Sarah and David fought desperately to clear a path through the smoke and flames. They grabbed blankets and tried to shield themselves, but the fire was relentless. The world outside was oblivious for precious moments until a neighbor's frantic knocking brought emergency help. Meanwhile, in the midst of chaos, Lily felt a shift deep inside her. The smoke, the yelling, the flashing lights, it all faded away for a moment as she noticed Max wasn't by her side. Panic blossomed in her chest. She called out softly, "Max? Max, where are you?" Max's faint whimpers came from the window, but the thick smoke and rising flames blocked her path. The dog's paws scratched at the glass, desperate to escape, but trapped by the broken latch and fire outside. Despite her tender age, something fierce ignited in Lily's heart. Fear did not stop her. The bond she shared with Max was stronger than the smoke or the fire. She crawled toward the door, the air thick and suffocating, and then, determined, she made a decision that would define her bravery. "I have to save Max," she whispered to herself, voice trembling but resolute. Using all the strength her small body could muster, Lily reached for the door handle, fumbling as tears streamed down her face. Outside, her parents were calling her name, shouting for her to stay safe. But she could only think of Max trapped behind the window, fighting for his life. With a deep breath, she pushed open the door and stumbled into the smoke-filled hallway. Each step was a battle, the heat scorching her skin, the smoke burning her lungs. Yet she moved forward, guided by the faint sound of Max's whimpering. Reaching the window, Lily stretched as far as she could, pulling at the broken latch with tiny, desperate fingers. It wouldn't budge. Panic clawed at her, but she refused to give up. Max's eyes met hers through the smoke, filled with trust and hope. Then, summoning courage beyond her years, Lily climbed onto a chair and reached through the narrow opening she could create. She wrapped her small arms around Max's soaked, trembling body. The dog leaned into her embrace, finding strength in her touch. With all her might, Lily pulled Max through the window, just as the flames roared louder, the house groaning under the fire's assault. They tumbled to the ground outside, coughing and covered in soot but alive. Neighbors who had gathered gasped and rushed to help. Someone wrapped them both in a blanket, while others called for ambulances and firefighters. The image of the tiny girl holding her German shepherd close, soot-smudged but unbroken, became an instant symbol of courage and love. Lily's parents arrived moments later, tears streaming as they embraced their daughter and Max, overwhelmed by relief and awe at the bravery of their little girl. But this was just the beginning. What happened next, how this act of heroism transformed lives and touched millions, was a story that would unfold with every tear and every heartbeat in the days to come. The fire had transformed the peaceful home into a terrifying furnace, the walls roaring with flames and thick smoke swirling in every corner. But inside that blazing chaos, a small figure moved with a courage that no one expected: 3-year-old Lily. The moment Lily realized Max was trapped, something shifted deep within her. The smoke was thick and choking, making it hard to breathe, but her love for Max gave her strength she didn't know she had. Clutching the edge of the doorway, she hesitated just a moment, the heat and darkness pressing in. But then she took a deep breath and stepped inside. Every inch forward was a battle. The smoke stung her eyes, the heat made her skin burn, and pieces of the ceiling began to crack and fall. Dust and debris rained down, forcing her to crouch low and move carefully. Each breath was shallow, but Lily pressed on. Her small hands reached out blindly, searching for anything familiar. The flickering glow of the flames cast eerie shadows, making the house seem like a monstrous labyrinth. But Lily's determination was fierce. Despite her size, she navigated through the smoke-choked rooms, her tiny feet padding silently on the scorched floor. Her heart pounded not from fear, but from purpose. She knew Max was in danger, and nothing, not even the raging inferno, would stop her. At last, through the haze, she spotted him. Max was pinned behind the window, his wet fur smudged with soot, eyes wide and fearful. The flames licked at the edges of the glass, smoke curling around his paws. For a moment, Max froze, uncertain of this small figure daring to enter the fire. But then Lily reached out, her small hands trembling but steady. She called softly, "Max, it's me, Lily. I'm here." The dog's eyes softened, and with a cautious whimper, he inched closer. The bond they shared transcended the terrifying scene. Max knew Lily wouldn't abandon him. Lily didn't hesitate. She pulled at the broken window latch with all her might, but it refused to budge. The fire crackled louder, the heat intensifying, pressing urgency on her every move. With tears streaming down her face, Lily climbed onto a nearby chair that was miraculously still standing. Her fingers fumbled, soot covering her hands, until she finally managed to pry the window just enough to reach inside. Her arms wrapped tightly around Max's trembling body. The dog leaned into her embrace, trusting this tiny savior with everything he had left. Lily pulled with every ounce of strength she could muster, dragging Max through the narrow opening. The moment Max was free, Lily climbed down, both coated in soot and smoke but alive. Outside, neighbors and family watched in stunned silence as the little girl emerged from the smoke, dragging the giant German shepherd behind her. The air was thick with the smell of burning wood, but a wave of relief washed over everyone. Sarah and David rushed forward, tears streaming down their faces as they swept Lily and Max into their arms. Neighbors gasped, some whispering in disbelief about the courage they had just witnessed. "What a brave little angel," one woman murmured. "To think she'd run into a burning house all alone. It's like she had fire in her heart," another added, eyes shining. But the most remarkable thing was not just Lily's bravery, it was the unbreakable bond she and Max shared. In that moment, fear and danger faded away, replaced by trust, love, and hope. The firefighters arrived moments later, taking over with their hoses and equipment, but for everyone watching, the real heroes were already there, a tiny girl and her loyal dog, who had faced a deadly blaze together and come out stronger. As the fire truck sirens wailed and the flames were finally subdued, Lily sat wrapped in a blanket, Max resting quietly beside her. Both were soot-streaked, tired, but unbowed. The community would never forget the image of that fearless rescue. It was a moment that rippled far beyond the charred remains of the house, a testament to courage far bigger than size or age, and a reminder of the extraordinary power of love. The chaos of the fire had finally settled, replaced by the quiet hum of emergency crews and the soft murmur of concerned neighbors. But the real story was just beginning, the long road of healing for little Lily and her beloved dog, Max. As paramedics gently examined Lily, their practiced hands checking her breathing, soot-covered skin, and small cuts, a calm settled over the frantic scene. Despite the trauma, Lily's eyes held a spark of resilience, the same fierce light that had pushed her into the flames. Nearby, veterinarians tended to Max with equal care. Though the loyal German Shepherd had escaped the fire, he was far from unscathed. His fur was singed in places, and his paws were blistered from the scorching floor. But the worst was a deep bruise across his side, likely from the window's sharp frame. Max lay quietly on a soft blanket, eyes trusting as the vet gently cleaned and bandaged his wounds. Though exhausted, there was a calm between him and Lily, an unspoken understanding. They had survived together, and now they would heal together. Back at the hospital, Lily's parents, Sarah and David, watched anxiously, their hearts still pounding from the night's events. The fire had shaken them deeply, but seeing their daughter safe, wrapped in a warm blanket, softened the fear into profound gratitude. 4 days afterward, the family remained close, cocooned in care and recovery. Lily, once quiet and shy, now seemed to carry a new strength. Yet, beneath the brave smile, there were moments when the trauma surfaced, startled reactions to loud noises, restless nights, and quiet pauses where the fear seemed to shadow her eyes. Her parents knew this was natural, part of a healing process that couldn't be rushed. They sought counselors who specialized in helping children through trauma, and slowly, Lily began to open up, not just in words but through drawings and play that expressed the storm she'd survived. Meanwhile, Max's recovery was steady but slow. Each day he grew stronger, his once singed fur gradually replaced by a healthy coat, and his playful spirit returned with wagging tail and joyful barks. The bond between Lily and Max grew deeper with every passing moment. The rescue had forged a connection stronger than ever before, a bond born not just from love, but from shared survival. Sarah often caught them in quiet moments, Lily stroking Max's fur as he rested his head in her lap, or Max lying protectively beside her bed at night. Their companionship was healing for them both, a balm for wounds seen and unseen. The incident had also transformed the family's outlook on life. Once taken for granted, safety and togetherness became sacred values. They invested in smoke detectors, planned fire drills, and made sure every member of the household knew how to act in emergencies. The fire was a terrifying lesson, but one that brought them closer, united in the resolve to protect each other. The community's response was nothing short of heartwarming. Neighbors brought meals, offered hugs, and shared stories of their own fears and hopes. Local groups organized fundraisers to help the family rebuild, while friends and strangers alike expressed their admiration for Lily's courage. "It's incredible what a little heart can do," said Mrs. Thompson, the neighbor who had been first on the scene. She reminded us all what true bravery looks like. This collective support became a wellspring of strength for the family, reminding them they were not alone. For Lily, every day was a new step forward. She learned to smile without the shadow of fear, to play freely, and most importantly, to trust again, not just in herself, but in the world around her. The rescue had been a moment of unimaginable courage, but the aftermath, the healing, the love, and the bonds forged in fire, was a story of hope that would last a lifetime. Max and Lily were no longer just a girl and her dog. They were survivors, champions of a remarkable journey. Together, they had faced the flames and emerged with hearts unbroken and spirits stronger than ever. The moment Lily's incredible rescue of Max, the brave German Shepherd, was shared online, something extraordinary happened. What began as a local story soon swept across the globe, touching hearts and sparking waves of emotion in millions. Videos from neighbors' smartphones showed the tiny 3-year-old, covered in soot and tears, carrying the frightened dog from the burning house. The raw footage captured every terrifying and miraculous second: the thick smoke, the flames licking the walls, and that small figure charging through it all with fearless determination. News outlets picked up the story quickly. Interviews with Lily's parents, the firefighters who battled the blaze, and the neighbors who watched in awe painted a vivid picture of courage far beyond Lily's years. Her simple, honest words, "I just wanted to save Max," echoed with the kind of pure bravery that doesn't need embellishment. Across social media platforms, people shared the story with a mix of wonder and tears. Hashtags like #LittleHeroLily and #MaxTheBraveDog trended worldwide, as strangers connected with the tale of hope amid disaster. Comments poured in from every corner of the world, messages of support, admiration, and shared stories of overcoming their own fears. The viral response was more than just sympathy, it was a movement. Fire safety organizations began highlighting the story to raise awareness about the importance of preparedness, especially for families with young children. Animal rescue groups used Lily and Max's story to promote compassion and vigilance for pets in emergencies. And parents everywhere found inspiration in the fearless heart of a toddler who refused to stand by when her best friend was in danger. Television programs invited Lily's family to share their experience, giving a face and voice to the story that had captured millions. Her parents spoke candidly about the challenges they faced after the fire, emphasizing the importance of community and resilience. The firefighters, modest but proud, talked about the rare courage that saved the day and how Lily's act reminded them why they do what they do. Neighbors who had rushed to help during the fire spoke of the surreal moment when a little girl became the family's hero. "I couldn't believe my eyes," said Mrs. Ramirez, holding back tears. To see such strength in someone so small, it was humbling. She gave us all hope. The outpouring of emotion wasn't limited to words. Donations flooded in to help the family rebuild their home and provide medical care for both Lily and Max. Local schools organized fundraisers and fire drills, inspired by the story's lessons. Animal shelters saw a surge in volunteers, moved by Max's bravery and recovery. But beyond the tangible support, the story resonated on a deeper level. It reminded the world of the power of love, the fierce protectiveness between a child and her dog, the strength found in vulnerability, and the courage that can rise in the smallest hearts. Experts in child psychology noted how Lily's bravery, even at 3 years old, showed the profound impact of love and attachment in motivating action. Her story became a beacon of hope for families dealing with trauma, proving that even the youngest among us have the capacity to face darkness and shine a light. Throughout the whirlwind of attention, Lily's family remained grounded, focusing on healing and gratitude. "We never expected this," Sarah, Lily's mother, admitted. "But the kindness we've received reminds us there is so much good in the world." The rescue story inspired countless people to look at bravery through a new lens, not as something reserved for adults or heroes in uniform, but as a quality that can be found in everyday acts of love and determination. For Lily and Max, life after the fire was forever changed, but in the best possible way. They became symbols of resilience and hope, their story a reminder that even in the darkest moments, courage and compassion can light the way. And as millions continued to follow their journey, sharing and retelling the tale, one thing was clear: a tiny girl's fearless heart had touched the world in a way no one could forget. Sometimes, the smallest among us shine the brightest. Lily, a fearless 3-year-old, didn't just save a dog from a burning house. She changed the lives of everyone around her. Her courage sparked a wave of hope that swept through her family, community, and the world beyond. In the days and months that followed, Lily and Max's recovery became a testament to resilience and love. Max's wounds healed under gentle care, his loyal spirit undimmed by the trauma. Lily's laughter returned, brighter than ever, as she and Max grew closer, their bond a source of strength for both. The family, once shattered by fire and fear, found new roots in a rebuilt home filled with warmth and gratitude. Neighbors, inspired by the story, formed stronger connections, rallying around one another with kindness and support. The community's embrace became a living legacy of that fateful day, a reminder that together, even the hardest trials can be overcome. But the impact didn't stop there. Lily's bravery inspired countless others to look for courage in unexpected places. It taught us all to cherish the quiet heroes, children, animals, and ordinary people whose small acts of love can make the biggest difference. To you watching now, remember this: bravery isn't about size or age. It's about heart. It's about standing up, reaching out, and refusing to give up when it matters most. Whether it's saving a life, lending a hand, or simply being there for someone in need, every act of courage echoes far beyond the moment. So take this story as a call to action. Support your local animal rescues, learn fire safety to protect those you love, and treasure the bonds that hold us together. Because love and bravery, no matter how small, can change the world. As Lily drifts to sleep each night, Max curled protectively by her side, their story continues, a beacon of hope shining through the darkest smoke. And in their quiet strength, we find a powerful truth: courage and compassion know no bounds. Thank you for sharing in this journey. May Lily's fearless heart inspire you to find the hero within yourself.